Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio. We're going to finish off Psalm 49 today. We're going to be looking at verses 17 through 20. And just for the stations down the line, this is going to be a little bit longer today. I need to kind of finish up, wrap everything up, and we've got some things that we need to go back and review. You recall how we began this psalm. He was going to tell us a parable, dark saying. He's going to incite it upon the harp. He's going to be singing this to us. And he begins in verse 5 with a question, our research question here. Why should I fear the days of evil? Now, fear in the days of evil is presented to us, first of all, from the perspective of the rich man. He trusts in his wealth, and he wants to redeem his brother so that, verse 9, he should live forever and not see corruption. But that's just not possible when you trust in wealth, because there's not enough money. That is not the currency of redemption. The currency of redemption is the blood of Christ. He paid the price for you to be now living in God's presence. So the rich man has quite a conundrum on his hands. He sees that people die, and he knows he's headed in that direction, and so he's worried about his lands, his property, who he's going to give it all to. He wants to remain, but he knows that he can't, because wise men die, foolish men die at the same time. So he doesn't know what's going to happen. We have the result, or actually the judgment that's rendered to this wise man, or to this rich man, is his way is folly. Okay? And like sheep, he's going to go to the grave, and the death is going to feed on him. The upright are going to have dominion over him. And then we have this statement in 15, which answers the other side of the question. So for the rich man, why should I fear death? Well, you should fear death because there's nothing you can do to prevent it. And if you try to trust in your wealth, then it's going to go bad for you. But in 15, we have the other side of the coin. The upright, those who trust in the Lord, they're the ones who are going to be received by him because they've called upon him. They've humbled themselves before him. And so, he will redeem my soul from the power of the grave. He shall receive me. This is a trust that the righteous man has. Then we have verse 16. Be thou not afraid when one is made rich. Now we're going to see why that's important here. In 17 through 20, that is answered. Why is it that I shouldn't be afraid when one is made rich? I'm not afraid of the grave, because I know that if I trust in the Lord, he's going to receive me. So now I don't want to be afraid of those that are rich in this life. I see how they operate, but why shouldn't I be afraid of him? We'll look at verse 17. For when he dieth, he shall carry nothing away. His glory shall not descend after him. Now, we've seen that happen, haven't we? Over and over and over we see in the ancient world as well as today, men who died tried to take it all with them. The pharaohs of Egypt, the great kings of the East and Asia, they would build great funerary buildings and places where they could take and store all the stuff that they wanted to go with them into the afterlife. Did it work? Nope. All that stuff is now in museums, and those bodies have rotted into nothing. Some of them mummies that people gawk at through glass. So, can the rich man carry anything away? No. So why be afraid of the rich man? He's going to be just like anybody else when he dies. Though while he lived, he blessed his soul, and men will praise thee when thou doest well to thyself. Boy, isn't that the truth? And while he lived, he blessed his soul. This reminds me of the parable of the rich man and Lazarus. Remember, the rich man, he feasted sumptuously every day, and Lazarus was carried to his gates, and he begged for the crumbs that would fall from the rich man's table. While he lived, he blessed his soul, but he wasn't concerned about his soul after death. Men will praise thee when thou doest well to thyself. Boy, that certainly is true, isn't it? Who are the ones that you get to hear? Who are the ones that are promoted? Who are the ones that are invited and heralded and celebrated? Well, it's those who do well for themselves, because we all want to be that guy, don't we? We want to be that gal. We want to be the one that's rich and wealthy and successful and has written the latest leadership book. Men will praise thee when thou doest well to thyself, but does God praise thee when thou doest well to thyself? Verse 19, he shall go to the generation of his fathers. They shall never see light. So even though you are rich and wealthy and successful and a great leader of men and women, you're just going to die like everybody else. And if you've not taken pains to make sure your soul is taken care of and redeemed, then death comes, and there will be no light for you there. There's no hope. So you can have it all in this life, sure, but what about the next? This life is temporary. The next life is eternal. Are you sure you want to gamble that way? Man that is in his honor and understandeth not is like the beasts that perish. Well, there it is. Should I be afraid of death? No, because if I understand that trusting in the Lord is the way to being received by him, then, ladies and gentlemen, there is no fear. Should I be afraid of the rich man? No, because he does not understand if he's trusting in his wealth, and there is no light for him. And this verse 20 kind of wraps it all up for us nice and neat in this wonderful little package. Man that is in honor and understandeth not. What about man that is in dishonor? Same result. The man who understands not, whether he's in honor or in dishonor, rich, poor, low, high, he told us about all that at the beginning, didn't he? Is like the beasts that perish. Death comes to every man. Are you ready? Have you trusted in the Lord? Don't trust in your riches. Don't trust in your good looks or your intelligence. No, you need to go right now and call on him, and he will receive you. He promises. Join me again next week, and we'll look at Psalm 50 on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.